Well, Shari Graydon is with Informed Perspectives, the group that held that news conference on the Hill today. Ms. Graydon is in studio with me right now. Ms. Graydon, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So listen, you go over some of the stats that you shared today, and Canada's ranking on gender parity in politics wasn't great to begin with. This was according to the Inter-Parliamentary Union. We were 59th. We're now down to 71 in the world. What's behind that drop?
What's behind the drop is not anything we're doing. It's what we're not doing, and it's what other countries are proactively, explicitly implementing policies to ensure that, because democracy is fundamentally about representation, that the 50% of the population who have been historically not present in decision-making bodies, other countries have rewritten their constitution, engaged in parliamentary or electoral reform. New Zealand went from first past the post like we have to representational democracy, and 138 countries around the world have implemented some form of gender quota to ensure that women hold a minimum number of seats.
Okay, gender quota, and that does raise a point that, the criticism that you hear whenever this topic is raised, that people wonder about the quality of candidate, not getting the best candidate if, for example, a riding is told your candidate must either be a woman or a man. What do you say to that?
Well, there are a number of different ways that quotas are implemented. So I think, when it's described like that, it's understandable. People immediately think, no, we want merit, we don't want quotas, and there's this binary notion that quotas are the enemy of merit. But in practice, that's not how it works. In fact, researchers in Sweden, when they implemented quotas at the municipal level, they went in and looked at the qualifications that the elected representatives had before and after quotas, and the qualifications actually went up under the quota system. And the researchers described this as, and it makes perfect sense, that if a party is required to recruit as many women as men, they don't get rid of their star men, and they actively go out to recruit star women. And so maybe candidates who are eager to run and say, pick me, but are not that qualified, don't have a lot to bring to the table, those candidates fall off. So at the end of the day, the qualifications of the people who were elected under quotas actually got better.
Okay, so quota is one way. Is there another way? And I ask only because, this is not the first time that I've talked about the challenge of women in politics. And even before a quota system, especially in this day and age, women will cite potential violence as a reason why they don't participate. The very fact that the violence online tends to target women and people of color dissuades them from saying, this is the life I want to pursue.
Sure. And, I hear from lots of men who have similar concerns, who say, no, I would never run for public office because of all those reasons. So those are absolutely deterrents. And I think that women who are less inclined to put their names forward in the first place, and to your point, are more likely to be targeted and abused, that's absolutely a deterrent. But to them, I would say Mexico, which has 50-50 women, they have not solved those problems. All of the 70 countries ahead of us have not eliminated, vitriolic political rhetoric. Those women, those men, those parliamentarians around the world, they're still dealing with the kinds of issues that we are. But what they did do as countries was to say, okay, yeah, there are obstacles for women running, childcare, abuse, many other things, the travel involved. And what we're going to do is still make it easier for them to be present in decision-making bodies, because there's no such thing as gender-neutral policy, and we desperately need women to be at the table in equal numbers when we're making decisions about economic, social, environmental policies that are going to affect everyone. So, yep, there are obstacles, and the countries ahead of us have not solved those obstacles. They've just committed themselves to more democratic representation.
Okay, quickly running out of time here, but I do wonder what the reaction has been to this call. Again, not a new call. Every party says they're trying to address it, but obviously the proof is not in the pudding, if I can put it that way.
It's pretty simple to address it. Rachel Notley ran 3 times for premier in Alberta. She had a gender-balanced candidate pool each time, so she had a gender-balanced caucus each time, not just cabinet, but caucus. So they actively recruited, the NDP in Alberta, a gender-balanced candidate slate.
And federally, what type of reaction are you seeing?
You know, people are all over the spectrum, and I will say that some people absolutely reject the idea of quotas. They're married to the notion that it's the enemy of merit. Other people say, yeah, representation is important. This is democracy. We need to do this.
Okay, well, here you are making the call once again. Shari Graydon, thank you very much for the time.
Thank you.